No surprise there. Now it's time to see if that truly holds itself to be true, or if FaZe will carry forward with their strength from the Oxygen matchup earlier and be able to top out against Liquid 2, getting revenge for the 0-2 loss they took against them earlier on in the group stage. The ban's already coming in here, and we are going to see Maverick first knocked out, followed by second Heart Breacher as well. Hibana being eliminated here, trying to muck up the difficulty when it comes to opening some of these pivotal Heart Breach positions, such as the primary balconies on the outside, as well as the hatchwork to get into the basement too.
Absolutely the case, and obviously that means that Thatcher will be in the play pool as well, so we'll see if these teams want to try and utilize that operator. Kaid gonna follow through as well, even though Thatcher is in play, so just making sure that they don't have access to some of those strange areas in order to apply those Electro Claws and possibly get some things off. We see some Electro Claw tricking happen every once in a while, so just want to make sure that they don't have access to that. Liquid will be starting us off on the defense with FaZe on the offense. It's a gym bedroom defense to start us off here, and looking to be quite the unique one at that. Nesk will have the Vigil, but this could just be a 6-pick coming through here to throw them off and make them think that initially CCTV, or rather Armory, would be the site instead.
Away from that, we're also going to have a Mira pick being flung in here, and indeed you're correct about that 6 pick, by the way. We're going to see a quick switch over to the Wamai just to add that little bit of utility mitigation that was not present on the team up until this point. Attackers similarly are also going to 6 pick away from an IQ that they originally had towards a Jackal here to try and spot any of the more out and about players from Liquid that may be present over the course of this round. Honestly, it might not be too much of a concern here, so we'll see how useful Cameraman's utility ends up being over the course of the round. But either way, Liquid will be locking themselves into the upstairs bedroom. And with the assistance of a mirror, it's certainly going to make their own aggressive capabilities to swing out from those mirror windows a little bit better, especially if they're going to extend it into areas over here like Cache and the CCTV part of the map.
Should be a little interesting, especially with this mirror window coming in from PSK. We'll see how he wants to apply these. Just depends on really where he wants to. Usually you'll have one inside of the bathroom, could have one here inside of Red as well, but obviously we need to find a spot for that second one. Stash is a perfect spot as well. There's really only 3 spots that we usually see these on this location, so this is definitely going to be right as rain.
Certainly going to be trying to waste the time of FaZe as they work their way into the first round. Here we've got them spawned down. We do have the Thatcher making an appearance, which is going to be almost a requirement now due to the bans that ended up coming through there. Most notably the Maverick getting knocked out there requires Thatcher to be able to get decent openings onto some of these harder to access walls, as otherwise you would need to be able to get frag grenades into good positions, and you guys can probably see it on the right side of your screen. Not a whole lot of those, in fact none whatsoever, currently being picked up from FaZe as they're going to fall back on a different form of utility. 4 smokes brought into play for this team here. Already 3 drones burnt out as well just within the first 30 seconds of the round, so they'll have to be a little bit cautious about the rest of the round if they're going to drain it at the same rate here. Either way though, Ask will get found out from the drone that just worked itself into the garage. Now they'll have to try and isolate his position out. Really step number 1 here, but the good news is doesn't have a whole lot of support in terms of utility. Either way though, damage being returned onto Bullet. Cyber now pressuring in against him as well. This is a tough territory for the player from Liquid to work themselves out of now, but the jump up, no, Ask is going to be able to win the fight anyway. Number 2, is it in the cards? That's the next question for him here. He's at low HP now after that first fight, but still crouching away, and with Nesk picking up another kill as well, things continue to look promising for Liquid, even with that trade finally being confirmed by Bullet.
A jump start here for Liquid in the afternoon as they desperately need it. FaZe already having their warm up earlier as Astro ascends the stairwell. 2 inside of the space, 1 will eat the AK-12 alive, and Astro with 2, a little bit of a hip fire, catches resets off guard, hits him right in the noggin. Down to a 2v3 here for Liquid. Nesk will continue to hold on to Cache. Wants to try and make a stand here, just saw the hip of the Zofia, but not able to land any shots, as more than likely would have sprayed wide there anyways. PSK starting to take some heat from the balcony here as well as FaZe begin to collapse around this site.
Nesk unfortunately can't play out from his position inside of Logi here. 2 low HP would be a massive risk, so both have to play together in the depths of this site, and unfortunately both have been pinched out already. FaZe have great intel as to where both of these players are positioned, so over the next few seconds we should see FaZe begin to get into position to go for their Executed Souls. Leaning in towards the gym window is certainly thinking about it at this point, but Nesk also, give it a moment, give it a lull in the action, is allowed to sneak back out through Logi. He's going to get in position to start countering out that himself here, just in the event that once again things go awry. Souls has held himself back. Consider his position outside and know this is going to get bad quickly here with Astro coming in for the pinch, but no, PSK, he spots it and fends it off, but Nesk is dropped. He's too low HP to sustain an extended fight, so he goes down, and now Souls has the all clear to go for the plant inside of Jim. PSK trades out his only other teammate. Souls is off the plant. He's on the clock as well, and it's PSK with the big clutch from Liquid to start out the series.
What a fantastic round from Liquid there, but PSK ice in the man's veins for round one. A fantastic clutch from him, and one that looked like FaZe could have more than likely gotten that plant down. It was starting to tick away, but cancels it in order to try and take a gunfight instead. After Bullet loses his life over here by construction, has to take the 1v1, and unfortunately enough for him, PSK just stronger in that situation, especially with the Vector in close range.
A great time-wasting capability coming out from Ask at the beginning of the round as well. Bleeds a good 30 to 40 seconds off of the clock, on top of guaranteeing a 1-for-1 trade from a very risky position on normally a gym hold here. We usually don't see players adventuring out that far into the garage catwalk. The furthest they would, in most circumstances, end up going is going to be to the inside of that CCTV and cache area. So taking a big play there, and it ends up working out well to delay some time and sets up the big man on campus here to clutch it out at the end of the round. Massive props to PSK, but we are going to see that operator handed over to another player's resets. Will pick up the mirror now as Team Liquid heads into the basement.
Solid setup here, as I believe Liquid will more than likely continue to abuse Mira just because she is available. She's so very strong and perfect for situations like that. Did you see how much information PSK got there, John? So much intel picked up by that Black Mirror, and this is exactly how this site's going to go as well. He'll be able to influence the engagements around the bottom of main stairs, as well as wherever they allocate the other Black Mirror to. Liquid are also going to go for a roam strategy here, so this should help the site players that are stuck downstairs all alone. But as we know with FaZe, they really like to go direct with this situation. This is what we saw them do earlier against OXG on this exact same map. So let's see if we have the same results.
Yep, going to see a lot of droning inside of the first 30 or 40 seconds here as FaZe try to build up a better intel bank about where exactly these Liquid extensions are going to be positioned towards. Nesk being the first to be found out, but FaZe might actually plead a bit of ignorance to that. Either that or just seeing early setup from Astro here as he puts that breaching charge down. This could, of course, just be a bit of a red herring as well, trying to catch the members of Liquid off guard and hopefully get someone committed in a dirt tunnel where there won't be any correspondence from FaZe, and that would allow the members from Liquid to, or rather the members of FaZe, to lock that player in. But it's going to be Nesk to strike first yet again for Liquid here, as we're going to be able to see him pick up the opening versus Bullet, knocking him down. Astro right on point to immediately exchange that back out, however, as he trades on to Ask and brings us on to even terms.
Already the fireworks popping off between these two feisty LATAM teams. Home game initially working out swell for Liquid. Still have some odds and ends to tie up if you're FaZe, especially a big one here if you consider Nesk, as he's currently inside of Garage. Cameraman will rotate in through Waits to continue to try and clear things out as Nesk gets caught off guard from the single panel here. Very serious intel coming in onto him. He'll more than likely keep these yellow pings. Saw one down low and able to win it out as Astro just not paying attention to where the Rafters player is. Now, with everyone around him, Nesk more than likely to die soon, and Cameraman will pick him up, but wasting plenty of time. And not only that, he's gotten rid of the Zofia as well as the Ace.
Plenty of time wasted, yeah, but still plenty to go as well here with just under half the round remaining. So FaZe are not starving for that at any point, just as of yet. And Liquid now going to be forced to try and bleed out as much of this as possible. Keep in mind, of course, still have the mirror windows downstairs to play with, and FaZe currently looking like they might have been pushed into a blue play, so we'll see them potentially run directly into that mirror window. But that won't be the only issue, of course. We are going to see players, you can see two of them now, getting in position to start leveraging themselves downstairs over towards Moto, and oh no! Souls shooting through. Palu had the setup to counter this play, but instead he's the one that'll be countered because of the patch being left soft there. The members of FaZe read directly into it, and suddenly they have the advantage going into the last minute of the round.
Cameraman starting to pressure into dirt as well, but there was a Banshee here moments ago. Is it still there? I don't see, actually, yes, it is indeed in the corner, so they will have some info on that department. As we get down to the last 20 seconds, cameraman and FaZe will be forced into sight. So the deployable shield here for Blue to play around as cameraman will adopt some info through the wall. PSK lying inside of his own smoke, but his friend's now dead. It's all left up to him with 0 smokes in his pocket, dancing around Blue. He knows someone's inside of this space, and he'll grab the kill. But now before Cyber can move in through Armory and nab him, it's going to be one-on-one between these two squads.
Trade setups are available this time, so no second clutch to come in immediately on the second round from PSK, although his first kill is certainly smooth indeed. The rest of the team falling apart, especially again inside of their extended position upstairs. Cost them dearly, especially once more also that position below the Moto hatch, where we saw a very unfortunate play out against the members of Liquid. They had a Nitro set up right here. It goes Palu, had a Nitro cell sitting right below that hatch, ready to stop the walk-up, but instead it's him that gets found out very quickly here. And just like that, Liquid's defense is torn to shreds, and FaZe instead pick up a second round, or first round I should say, for themselves in a second overall in this matchup.
Yes, indeed. Is we 1-1 at the current score line, but this is a very fast-acting Clubhouse as well. Believe that this is more than likely going to be a banger of a series.
Oh, yeah.
No mistakes made inside of this one. Yes, indeed. We are on the teeter-totter, my friend, and I welcome it. Let's go the full distance here in between these two, because would you have it any other way? I don't think so. Well, it's going to be CCTV here for Team Liquid, as we'll have some interesting setups here, especially for Reset's sake, as we'll have a Banshee down low inside of Secret. Now, the good news about Banshees outside of their slowing effect is that they also make that wub-wub sound that we're all used to. That's some very solid intel for these site players, especially for the player at the top of red or cash stairs. That way they know somebody's down low inside of Secret. As for Liquid, well, specifically Ask, he'll be inside a garage. This area very, very difficult to play, as more than likely you will die, as we've seen inside of these last couple of rounds. It's just how long is it going to take? Does still have 2 discs to apply to that location, as well as a breaching charge over on Dirt for some late access if need be for FaZe.
Bit of a slower broil here for FaZe, considering it's another second floor attack, so a lot more early positions need to be maintained before they can start getting aggressive and start to suss out some of these extended positions from Liquid. The ones to pay attention to is going to be Resets roaming around the bar area of the first floor, and Ask once again on that extension out towards the garage catwalk. That'll become a huge thorn in the side of FaZe if they want to use that position to attack this site. Might not necessarily be in the cards though. FaZe seem to be favoring construction side play right now, and that has set Nesk over towards the blue position to maybe get aggressive, as they'll still want to try and potentially open up the main balcony in order to give them an extra angle to peer into this site. Time will tell, though, how exactly the members of FaZe will build up into this execute, as we can see Souls in position now to EXO out the setup over here on the main balcony. And there we go. It'll be dealt with without too much of an issue. Not really anything seriously in the way of their assault there.
Astro once again on the sneaky move. We saw him pulling things very similar earlier on this back end. Unluckily enough, the Thatcher EMP will not land close enough towards the battery to actually disable it, so cameraman will have to reposition himself. Fortunately, still having one more EMP in order to disable that wall and allow the Selma charge to go off. So Astro actually has an angle into this space. This is going to make Green Box especially difficult to play inside of that area, so we'll see exactly what can possibly go on. Cyber going to clear that as well, just to make sure that if anybody was playing inside of that area whilst the Selma was going down, they were dead to rights. FaZe already making some solid headway over here on the construction side.
They going down in a position where we commonly see players try to position themselves and anchor to stop the swing in through that construction wall, but as you guys noted, nothing there this time, so FaZe chucking those nades out with not a whole lot of intel to play behind them, as I don't think anybody from Liquid was even in the neighborhood as that nade ended up going out. Either way though, Liquid have wasted out time due to the relative inaction we have seen from FaZe here. 30 seconds left. We've only just now seen a kill, but it is going to be immediately exchanged in another part of the map here as Souls trades out onto PSK, bringing us down to a 4v4. Cameraman has a great follow-up as he leaps into the cache site as well, taking out the first hold inside of Red Stairs, but Nesk is still holding his position. Astro again, though, keeping numbers even and keeping Team Liquid earnest as we go down to the 2v2, and now Bullet strikes also to eliminate Resets. The Nitro's in, but no kills to be found, but Nesk with the clutch maybe in his future as he moves himself out, finds the trade on the Bullet, is attempting to deny the plant, but doesn't have great intel here. Astro's a lot off the gun, but Nesk, even with the pre-fire against him, gets his triple instead. Liquid are going to go up 2-1 now as they get a response on their cash hold.
Cool, calm, and collected. Just another day in the office for Nesk. Even fist bumping before he gets the diffuser. Fantastic stuff there from Liquid, but even better showcase of Nesk's ability with that triple kill. Liquid now pull ahead yet again here on the CCTV site, and it was getting sketchy in between these two. Time and time again, they're able to equalize the man advantage and make it to where they have to play out these low man situations. And John, it can go either way inside of that. All it takes is one person to have a hot gun, and now two people are dead, and that's the round.
So Liquid now in charge of things, but for how long is going to be the question as we do a return over towards Jim. And this is a site where they were able to negotiate control for themselves, but only due to clutch capability that ended up coming out from PSK on the mirror, while also being fed a dump truck load of intel in his 1v2. Liquid, of course, cannot rely on that type of performance, as we saw in the very next round where PSK was put up against a similar situation, a 1v3. Obviously on a different operator and different site, but still could not leverage the same type of advantage there to shut that one down. So it's got to be a bit stronger, especially from the time-wasting department here for Team Liquid to be able to pick up a third round.
The big change up to Liquid strategy for Jim this time around is there's not going to be a Mira inside of this lineup. We saw that used to the nth degree the last time that we were here, especially when it came to how things broke down inside of the site when we saw PSK playing inside of Stash. You got so much intel with that Black Mirror. This time they're not going to have access to that, so they'll be flying blind for a certain sense, but the good news past that is that they have some other cool toys to be able to utilize here, like the Banshees as well as Resets, Laser Gates, so they'll have some semblance of knowledge just based off of those two as to what FaZe want to do with the map. Now FaZe out and about, they'll be bringing Flores along for the ride as well, so we'll see how far they can get with these Rotero drones.
Astro up on top and in some degree in position here to line up against another player from the team. Not going to be able to necessarily find that though. Looks like we have plenty of hard breach in, or rather reinforcements sitting in the way, so not going to be able to possibly pierce the veil on that this early on in the round. And I would imagine again we're going to have relative inaction from FaZe built up for the first 2 minutes just because they've got those Rotero drones to throw out. That'll be Cyber's main priority for this first minute or two. Take out as much utility as possible inside of the site. We'll have to probably wait and stagger them a little bit too, as you guys can see here. Those magnets coming out, more and more of them will spawn the deeper we get into this round, and the longer he waits, the more of them will be on the field, and the more that can be possibly taken out by the Rotero drones.
What a sketchy spot to drone, but the good news is that entire wall is reinforced. It's just one of those things as a Siege player, you kind of start sweating when somebody's right next to site and droning like that, but luckily enough for FaZe, and especially for Astro, he doesn't have to worry about it all too much, just given the circumstances of where Liquid could be at the current moment, and he knows that. That's exactly why he's doing what he's doing. For Liquid, they'll be stuck inside of Bathroom as well as Stash for the time being. An EMP out to assist with getting some hold or grasp on this Bathroom wall here and start applying pressure to Liquid's actual defensive setup. Ask still outside inside of Cash as the rest of the team just simply awaits FaZe's arrival. Bolt Assault traveling up the staircase here inside of Garage, but still no engagement just yet from anyone. They've gotten Jacuzzi open, but Ask will be first to strike as he takes down Cameraman. PSK will add onto the fire as well as he'll take out Astro. But Bullet, quick to the trigger, even though Souls is now down, they need some serious help over on this side, and that's why Cyber has picked it up and dropped in off plat.
Resilience from FaZe is something to be respected. Their capability to trade out these kills. We saw that to some degree inside of their OXG matchup earlier today as well. Once again, FaZe having to play 2 best-of-3s today in order to push themselves further and further into the upper bracket. This round, though, looking a little bit drastic now that that third player had been bled out from the Toxic Babes. As now things go down to a 4v2. Drone intel still possible for FaZe to bring back out here, as one available still here for Bullet to be able to utilize. But away from that, Liquid have full control of every aspect of their site here. And for the 2 members on FaZe, they don't have the greatest capability to get themselves in. A great shot from Bullet, though, to finish off PSK.
Oh!
Cyber with 2 of his own. Suddenly, the round's been flipped, and it's up to Resets in a 1vx to clutch this out. Plant's not going to get interrupted, and Cyber might just shut this down. No, Resets, he's in the fight still. Be spotted out by a drone. A little trouble taking care of that, but that's all right. As he works himself forward here, he's got to figure out where Bullet went, as he's long gone outside of the windows and now outside the long balcony. Looking to clutch this one out. Just play on the sound cue for when Resets taps on the counter defuse here. No immediate rehop here for Bullet, so he can actually sit on it for quite some time. Here comes the rotate, but it's immediately read by by Resets, and another incredible clutch going to come out from Liquid on their holding gym.
That game sense is incredible from Resets. What is that timing as he sticks it down to the last microsecond before Bullet bails in the window, thinking a little bit too fast as these two are just insane at the moment. Oh my goodness, a 3-1 lead now for Liquid after Resets picks up a round that he should have never have had.
FaZe have got to shore up these post plants. That's the second retake in a row that's come back against the FaZe attack here. So while they don't seem to have too much of an issue getting into the site, especially when you've got players like Astro and Bullet on the entry game, they're having problems though maintaining and more importantly stopping these clutches that we've seen 2 times in a row on this specific site. So it's back to the basement where things did go well for FaZe. Unfortunately, the only site where things have gone off for FaZe here as they're able to control this, what ultimately still had 3 players standing after all members of Liquid were dead.
Incredible story thus far for Liquid's defensive side, but what's it going to mean to how their offenses go? FaZe been having a lot of trouble. Even though they've been getting the picks and getting the plants, these post plants have not been working out for them. That round, a clutch moment for them, but quickly turned into Reset's highlight reel there at the tail end. Now inside of round 5, Liquid having quite a few options inside of what they're bringing to the table. Ask will adopt the Mira back into the lineup. Paul will be bringing the Bandits to make sure that those don't open up, and past that, everything's seeming pretty rudimentary at the end of the day. As for FaZe, you could say more of the same for them. Cameraman will keep the Thatcher in as well as the Flores for Cyber to make sure that they can get rid of some of these odd locations from Liquid.
Got the members of FaZe getting themselves onto the field now, and for Liquid, it's going to be a little bit of a spread out play on the opening few seconds of the round. No one really trying to take any huge risks here. Excuse me, I say that, but we do again have an oil pit play coming out from Ask, mainly just trying to toss a Nitro on the initial entry from FaZe into Garage, but not going to see much come from that, just more posturing than anything, and the players will eventually fall back. So a full basement hold in the cards this time. Liquid will adjust their strategy from the previous attempt and rely entirely on this bottom floor hold instead of trying to utilize an extended room that we saw back on the last attempt that did not go too well and unfortunately didn't really waste a whole lot of time either.
No, definitely not. Or some soft destruction inside of Kitchen as well as, oh, well, speaking of soft destruction, Cameraman will step on a landmine and he loses his legs and he'll lose his life as well. It's a 2v5, or rather 2-5 scoreline for Cameraman as a 5v4 going into this now. Big news is that obviously the EMPs are off the board, folks. Not having Thatcher is going to make things even more difficult as they do not have access to Maverick. Anything that they have been able to grasp a hold of will more than likely be closed, but the good news is that they banned Kaid. That's the biggest piece to this puzzle. With him on the board, that would have been a very, very terrifying round, as all of these hatches would have more than likely been sealed.
Ask continuing to do a fantastic job when it comes to the first kill department. He's 3 for 5 on them right now, and in just the last 2 rounds in a row, he's been able to specifically target out Cameraman as he's become the victim in both of those rounds. So things looking good for Team Liquid to start themselves off on the right foot, but as we saw in the OXG matchup, FaZe been able to come back from those time and time again and just having a little bit of a struggle with it here, especially in their post plants as we touched on at the beginning of the round. Either way though, FaZe now on a mission to make their descent into the basement with the last minute of play they have. They've used plenty of this time to gather intel to see what exactly Team Liquid's setup looks like, and now they need to take action upon it here as they're quickly running out of time to work themselves in.
Well, now with only 40 seconds remaining and minimal time in order to achieve the deed, 2 will drop into Moto. They're trying to pressure Palu, but is that the greatest idea? He'll be able to trade himself out 1-for-1 initially as Cyber drops in. Astro taking some heat as Asko will be able to take him down. Cyber will flash out, but he has to double back to try and get control of the case. He'll take down Ask, but Nesk refrags. It's down to the 1 versus 3 for Bullet. He's on the back end, but he'll only be able to secure 1 before Resets picks him off the Mira, and that's just how good this setup can possibly be when she is in play. Yet another round here coming for the Liquid members.
FaZe seemingly relying on some of that pressure from Blue in order to make their moto drop a bit more successful, but we just never see it happen here. Their players trying to work their way in and once again working from the back foot this entire time, but you can see this as just a very one-dimensional push. As you said there, it's not really the best decision because they don't have any counter angles set up to assist in that one. They're just walking directly into the Team Liquid setup, and while there was players in Blue ready to push, they too couldn't push because of the side angles that were working against them from inside of Arsenal. So a rough go of it there for FaZe, just throwing bodies at the site, hoping one of them would stick. And well, yeah, there was trades every once in a while with Liquid already having the 5v4 advantage from that nice Nitro cell from Ask at the beginning of the round. Not much of a hope for that to realistically work for FaZe. And they drop yet another round, and Liquid continued to surge here, leading 4-1 on this first half.
An insane start to Clubhouse here for Liquid, as this is indeed FaZe's map pick, but just because it's your map doesn't mean that you automatically claim victory, as Liquid is proving currently on this defensive side. Also, guys, make sure you check out our esports skins available right now inside of the Rainbow Six Siege client. Just head on over to the store, click the esports tab, and you have access to all of the esports skins. They directly support your favorite esports teams like Liquid and like FaZe.
All right, now we'll pay closer attention to the FaZe assault once again here. So they have a lot more work cut out for them, starting to struggle inside of the early and mid round on top of that late round too, not even getting close to the execute this time. And unfortunately, only one additional round to go on this assaulting side to try and make up the difference here and at least give them a palatable 4-2 half, which again is certainly going to be winnable here, given the past history of Clubhouse and the general defensive-sided nature of it. Seems like we're playing into that fairly heavily at the moment inside of this matchup, as neither team, FaZe at least, on their attacking side, not trying to play too heavily into that grenade meta that's been propelling our attackers forward and giving them a lot of extra boosts inside of these matchups here. Quickly though, they will open up the primary balcony, giving them the first point of access to the site that they'll need, which they did not really use all that much in the previous attempt here. They tried to go mainly for a construction swing, and it was fended off there by Liquid.
Well, the checklist still has to be achieved in a certain sense, so still gain access to that wall, as we seldom see it not destroyed inside of a round. It usually is the priority of every offensive squad when it comes to Clubhouse and their attack onto CCTV. It just applies so much pressure and makes things quite difficult at the end of the day. Astro with the AK-12 yet again here, sitting inside of Lounge and bearing down on Nest. Will reposition in through Oil Pit. Might just go through and challenge inside of this space, but while Astro hear him doubling back, he sees the gun, and this might be the easiest frag Nesk has ever gotten in his life. Astro, we might want to change out those in-ears, my boy, as he did not hear this man stomping across the entirety of Garage to come and secure that frag. Looking for another one, and Nesk will get it as soon as he asks. Bullet will fall, and Liquid have a perfect half for opening Bloods.
Yep, every single opening kill going their way, and in this case, 3 of them, in fact, as they're shredding this attack apart before it even enters the building. Finally, someone trades it out, but it might be one of the only ones we get here, as Cameraman is able to isolate out resets on the Malusi and eliminate that. Palu, though, immediately exchanging not just one, but both of the remaining members of Team Liquid, gives them another incredibly one-sided round. Things never really improved for FaZe over the course of that half. It only got worse, and now we've got a 5-1 lead set up for what was the defensive side, now moving to the attack.
Have Liquid leveled up? That's the real question here. This team is looking like they are on one at the current moment, especially for Ask, the IGL of Liquid, getting his hands really dirty, I would say. Disgusting openings from him, as he's actually out-fragged Nesk, I do believe, on opening kills inside of that one. I believe he secured 4, but definitely 3, so he either tied him or ended up pulling past him just on that half, and that is just absolutely absurd. They'll be starting their offensive side 5-1 in their favor, as FaZe try to clamber out of this very deep hole here on their defensive half.
Things obviously look bleak at this point for FaZe in this map, and it is their map pick, so once again lends credence to a possible 2-0 for Liquid, but it's important to note the similarity of the map pool for both of these teams, so it's not going to be an awful second map here for FaZe as they get ready to potentially move over towards Oregon for the second play between these two teams. FaZe might have an opportunity to bounce back. Yep, we'll have to hold our breath on that until we finish up with Clubhouse here. However, if Liquid just runs the gauntlet all the way up to 7, it's certainly going to be tough to come up with a theory as to how how that comeback might happen on map number 2.
Yeah, I feel like we've barely just gotten warmed up and these guys have almost completed the first map. This is insane, the speed run that we're seeing from both of these teams. In fact, as FaZe have been very aggressive on their offensive side, trying to secure these kills onto Liquid, but it was just Liquid time and time again punishing them for that aggression or just finding their opening kills in a myriad of different ways. But now, obviously, with Liquid being on the offense, we'll see how they want to set pace on their clear. As Palu will start us off with the Cybertruck Hollow, one that you don't see every single day here, be busting down the door and droning things out on the west side.
Look, with the slow roll, of course, they don't want to be tripped up by any early aggressions from FaZe either, and we're not going to get a whole lot of that. FaZe have to give over a massive amount of respect to Liquid, just with how much they're controlling this early fragging department. While, yes, that was from the other point of view, that was from the defensive side of this game, I think that's going to translate pretty well to the second half performance as well. Their players are on point right now when it comes to catching these early movements. There's not a whole lot that FaZe can do, especially on a basement play, to stop that from being true. So they have to rely on their actual insight setup in order to yield them a bit more success here and hopefully catch a member or two of Team Liquid getting a bit too aggressive, waltzing in, hopefully, one of the setups for the members of FaZe.
You're really looking to FaZe to try and get an opening blood here and slow down Liquid, as they have time and time again been able to pick off FaZe members and dictate how this map is going to be played. Hopefully the shoe's on the other foot now, but it's hard to say at the current moment as we're only 1 minute and 26 seconds remaining and nobody really dealing any damage just yet. It's just been map control going into the likes of Liquid as they clear things out with the drones and make sure no FaZe members are trying to go for a late flank just yet. As we know, FaZe are not afraid to do so, as we saw them do time and time again against Oxygen earlier on today. Paulo will continue breaking up the kitchen floor as he awaits Ass to drop in the Selmas onto the hatch. They need to open this up so they can get angles not only into the site, but possibility of a drop here as well. Impact out, and will it get it? Doesn't get it initially, as it'll be busted up a singular time. Another impact out, and it actually won't get the Selma. 2 out, and FaZe missed the mark twice.
Good news is, it's caused at least a considerable amount of delay for Liquid, so only getting it open at around the 40-second mark leaves them with a very small time bank to actually make the transition downstairs and get into the site. And Liquid don't seem too confident in this drop either. You can see them holding back. Palu's still trying to open up avenues of opportunity here. Nade's going to be banking into Church, but that's read pretty quickly by FaZe. However, it does force some respect and allow Ass to get himself in. Palu's second nade also manages to catch Souls, and now Nesk maintains position. Bullet responds and drops the plant. That's the big game changer they needed to possibly close out this round. Bullet's just going to keep on going as well. He's up to 3 for this one, and Cyber along with Astro will clean it up, as that's a definitive stance put down from FaZe at the start of the second half. We might not be done with Clubhouse just yet.
Well, at least for Bullet's sake, I can tell you that, as he secures all of the frags necessary to pick up FaZe's second round, all from AK. Incredible stuff as Nesk has the overwatch, but not for this position right here. Bullet able to get away with murder on that one and find the plant all the way at the back of Armory. The only issue right now is, well, that's going to wipe out Church and Armory from their site rotation. It's already done. They've gotten the round, and now they have to go somewhere else. This time around, it will be CCTV. Obviously, the mirror won't be in play here, as Cyber will change that out. Mirror not exactly the greatest when it comes to this site, as you're really condensed when it comes to CCTV and cache. So much rather use the mute here to try and assist not only with jamming these walls, but preventing some intel from coming into the site.
So let's see here for the members of Team Liquid if they're going to be up to the challenge of an upstairs assault. Is unfortunately not truly ready and not able to read into the potential aggressive swings from members like Bullet from FaZe that would have transpired downstairs inside of Armory. Good entry capability. I love the bait play with the nade to get the players in Church to back off for a second. It opened up room for the hatch drop, but aside from that, FaZe quickly rebounding, and Bullet specifically jumping himself back into the action there, with Liquid, for the most part, not able to do much about that, as he shuts down not 1, not 2, but 3 different members of the assaulting squad there, finally putting a second round on the board for this team. That's the problem, though. Only the second round now picked up from FaZe on the very outset of the second half. They still have 3 more rounds just to tie us back up. Liquid, however, only need 2 to shut down the map entirely, so FaZe certainly still on thin ice as they try to tread deeper into their defensive half.
Just an update for those curious that don't have the beauty of having 2 monitors at home. We do have an update from the Bravo stream. So if you're not into that kind of a thing, make sure you mute now. All right, we've given you some time. It is currently 2-2 over on the Bravo stream as things are at a dead heat as they try to figure things out themselves. But as you guys know, it's a 5-2 score line, at least for us, coming into round 8. So we're a little ahead of Bravo at the current moment. Nesk will repel himself up to plat here as they've already gotten CCTV wall open. Nades out now towards Raptors to see if they can pick up souls, but he's got ADSs here, so you're going to have to try a little bit harder than that.
Yeah, trying to bleed out a little bit of utility if anyone's going to be present just on the other side of that window. I think they will knock out one piece of device here. At the same time, they're going to spot out the ADS is currently supporting Souls' position. They'll know he's in the default spot. And again, Liquid have handled this plenty of times in the past, so they'll know how to approach it, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it will possibly fend it off here. So gonna have to play this carefully, but not too carefully. As we saw on the previous round, Liquid taking arguably just a little bit too much time to set up for their aggressive play and did not leave enough to clear out the interior of the basement site, ultimately allowing for lots of freedom for players like Bullet, and that was the opening, kind of the beginning of the end that allowed those players back in, allowed them to frag out as well. This time, though, Souls is going to be isolated out, bites off way more than he can chew inside of that fight. Virtually a 1v3 thrown at him, and he can't reconnect any of the damage onto any of the members of Liquid either.
Yeah, a virtual firing squad awaiting him as soon as he stood up there from R1. Unfortunately enough for him, so he'll lose his life, and now Liquid have enough space to try and get something done inside of CCTV, but Ask has now lost his life as well. It's a 4 versus 4 as Liquid's looking to try and put a plant down. But is there any prevent here from FaZe? Well, they do have a couple of options, especially in the likes of Cyber and Bullet, who both have nades, and Cameraman still having to smoke as well. And that's why Liquid have sent Palu more than likely on this flank. He'll be discovered, though, from Astro playing inside of construction as PSK goes down. Nesk, he's going to continue to challenge forward. Cyber dead as he finds a couple other ones. Palu will get one as they crunch things, and oh my! Liquid, they just barrel over the top of FaZe. They can't keep them out of the sight, and they'll walk through there like they own the place.
Again, the strategy is perfect from Team Liquid there. The player inside of Cash was supposed to fend off that flank, working itself into the red stairs rotation point, but that player himself got pressured from the inside of CCTV, so he had to fall back into a safe corner, could no longer fend off the swing from Nesk, and that left Nesk open for the killing here against the players in construction. And even in construction, there was a whole other member of Liquid that was pinching from the other side over by Master. Fortunately for FaZe there, good start to the round, good delay as it was getting a little dodgy towards the end of it, but ultimately Liquid had all the intel needed to crunch out that setup and shut down the play.
And that is exactly what we've been talking about time and time again here at SI, John. Your ability on offense to be able to pull people to different sides of the site and force them to fight without their teammates is a very big deal. That's how Nesk gets so far into sight. There's just nobody at the top of red because they're having to deal with what's going on in construction. There's way too many problems for them to solve, and Liquid are able to just spearhead their way into sight and just run over FaZe. A fantastic round from them there as they have made it to the inevitable point here for one of these teams. 6 points as they're looking for their 7th to close this out at 7-2.
Divide and conquer is the path to victory upstairs, but will it be the same downstairs now for Liquid as we move into possibly our final round of the first map? But have 4 opportunities to close it down here before overtime is triggered as well. And so far, only 1 successful translation from FaZe on this defensive end. Things do not look great, but now they go towards a bar site where they're given a lot more freedom to play out, a lot more real estate to work with here, and hopefully greater capability to fend off Liquid. But as we already saw, Liquid, if they're given the time to build up intel, find out where the setup is going to be positioned towards, and FaZe don't have too many tricks up their sleeve, Liquid can contain it. They can pinch it out and shut down this setup to negotiate that 7th round and end our first map in relatively quick terms.
Not a single negative player at the moment for Team Liquid as they come out the gates here. 40 seconds already off the clock as they're taking their sweet time to make sure that they can do whatever is necessary to apply pressure to FaZe. Cyber, you might want to get off that camera there, bud, as this X-Kairos is about to go off, but fortunately enough for him, PSK isn't going to push it. It will be blown, and Cyber will be very aware of that as the explosion is directly to his rear. Paul Palu will be breaking up the castle barricade as well to try and get some insight as to what's going on inside of construction. Astro will set things up here for a hop out for the master balcony.
Palu. There's some awareness of it. He's going to try to stop the play from outside the window, but won't find much from that early on here. A member of FaZe not feeling the need to leap out just as of yet. Cyber as well getting close by to the construction window. There definitely seems to be a want to pinch this player, but it's going to be a matter of timing as Nesk catches the cross from Bullet as he tries to make a play and goes down instead here. Once again, the opening kill goes to Liquid.
Yes, indeed. And Nesk now with a drone down low as well. He'll be able to find some extra information as to what's going on inside of the bar space. And with the initial pick already, they really just need to lean into this info game. The case is on Ask, so make sure you guys are paying attention to his score at the left-hand side. As soon as that goes yellow, that means all hands on deck for Liquid as they try and put a plant down. Extra insight coming through now for Liquid as they'll begin working on the actual site. I believe that stage wall being blown here as Cyber will more than likely be droned out inside of Kitchen. PSK checking Meat Locker, but does he check to his left? He sees all the holes upstairs, and now he sees a Maestro inside of the kitchen space as well. He'll get that drone back out, but that's some very solid intel going into what could be the strategy in the dying moments here for Liquid.
Of dying moments, that's what Liquid is going to use to try and get themselves into the site yet again. I was worried about this on the previous 2 rounds, but not so much anymore. It seems Liquid have their wits about them in a lot of circumstances. The flash blinding out Cyber, basically handing the duel over to PSK. And with Ask finding another entry, FaZe are down to only 2 members remaining here. Cameraman and Astro, never mind, just Cameraman are all that can clutch this out in what would need to be a 1v5. There's one, but that's it, as Palu closes out on a flawless round from Liquid, a nearly flawless map. It is flawless in terms of their entry capability as they get the first kill on every single round, even the 2 that they lost, and absolutely decimate the early, mid, and late game here against FaZe to take the opening map of the series 7-2.